and the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Hello, this is OptimusSolo, and welcome to the 21st chapter in Tales of Eternia. With me for this journey into the Masters of the Universe franchise is none other than the click-happy TFG1Mike himself. Hello.
Shut the hell up. It could be worse. I could be typing a book.
Oh, yeah, you could be. Are you ready, sir, for Powers of Grayskull?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was any news or anything coming out recently since between this episode and the last one. I don't think I've seen anything. I keep seeing rumors about Grayskull or a potential film.
Yeah, there's a new rumor about a new director that's attached to it.
Yeah.
So, we'll have to see how that goes. But in this episode of Tales of Eternia, we will be giving you our thoughts on Episode 61, The House of the Shokoti Part 1, Episode 62, House of the Shokoti Part 2, and Episode 63, The Once and Future Duke. So we hope you're ready, because it's time to go back to Eternia.
Shaboobie.
Who is this He-Man? The most powerful man on Eternia, and I hope he doesn't come here. You said I would be safe in your lair. You are, believe me. There's no way He-Man can find us here. You had better be right, Trapjaw. Here it is, just as you asked. What is it, He-Man?
A control box from one of Trapjaw's robots. It automatically brings them back to Trapjaw.
I get it. We'll put it in our Wind Raider, and it'll take us to Trapjaw. See?
Oh! I don't get it.
The day is Monday, November 28th, 1983, and the episode, as I said before, is Episode 61, House of the Shokoti, Part 1, written by Larry DiTillio. This is his last couple episodes for Season 1, as Season 1 is winding down, obviously. And the plot goes a little something like this. At Castle Grayskull, the Sorceress explains to He-Man that strange incidents have been occurring in the sands of time ever since a pyramid appeared one night and then disappeared. After a brief battle at the Fortress of the Sands, the heroes encounter a villain named Mask, who escapes. Prince Adam approaches the royal archaeologist Malactha about finding the pyramid, and along with his apprentice Stanlin, they journey to the sands of time. Mask, in disguise, delays their expedition, throwing up new dangers along the way. He-Man confronts Mask, but not before the villain has summoned the House of Darkness. That's as far as we go for Part 1. For the Masters, we have our regulars, along with the somewhat regular Ram Man, and then we also have a brief appearance from Trapjaw. And the PSA is, don't run into things with your head, aka play safely. It's given to us by Ram Man, obviously. So what is your thoughts on the plot so far of the first part of House of the Shaboobie?
Why is He-Man trying to fight Matt Tracker? I don't get it.
We knew at some point He-Man and Mask would eventually run into each other. No, just kidding. Mask spelled M-A-S-Q-U-E in this episode.
Yes. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. The best parts about it was Ram Man being the comedy relief.
Yeah, Ram Man definitely is featured in both parts of this episode.
Yeah.
So that is good. It's an interesting plot. We have obviously another location at Eternia, another part. We're dealing with the Sands of Time this time. Some weird happenings. This mysterious house of the Shokoti that we're not really sure what's going on with that. And then you introduced, obviously, to a new villain of the week in Mask, who we'll talk about a little bit later. So, a standard episode for He-Man, nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. It's just kind of like your general He-Man plot, which then makes it all about the execution. The plot is there, it's not problematic, but let's see how they execute it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. The PSA... How many kids? Okay, I know kids emulate stuff that they see on TV and stuff like that, but how many kids really back in the 80s started running into walls because Ram Man did it? Really? Come on.
This
now.
honestly was like one of those knee-jerk reactions from the studio, I'm guessing, where they're like, somebody complained or somebody did something, and they're like, wait a second, we got to make sure kids don't think ramming your head into walls is okay.
But see, that's the thing, though. Like, growing up, I always knew that, cartoons and television, that stuff is fantasy. That stuff is make-believe. You don't do that crap in real life. I mean, this is kind of an early, thing of now where it's like, where some shows now will have, like, okay, the only thing, and I hate to make this analogy, but the only thing I can compare this PSA to is the introduction to Jackass. Please do not try this at home. This is done by professionals. Or, that kind of PSA now where it's like, kids, don't try this at home. You could kill yourself. It's like, it's just, oh my God. Do people not have common sense
Somewhere
anymore?
in 1983, a kid rammed his head into a wall. I guarantee it.
I mean, that's like saying somewhere in 1986, a kid ran another kid in with a lightsaber and killed him. Robot dead. Optimus Prime go bye-bye. I mean...
Probably happened. Somewhere.
Yes, somewhere.
All right, well, let's see what other kinds of stuff Ram-Man will trigger as we get to Castle Grayskull.
When will your machines be ready to attack the fortress again? What's the hurry? The fortress sends men to seek out the pyramid of my mistress. That alone is reason enough. Who is this mistress of yours anyway? You shall learn that when she has awakened the sleeping beast and spread darkness across Eternia. The fortress is only a small problem, Mask. The real threat is He-Man.
Nice of you to say so, Metal Mouth.
So Ram-Man is knocking it against the walls of Castle Grayskull, and while he does that, we can talk about the good moments from the House of the Shokoti Part 1. First of all, I thought it was interesting and unique that they did not give us a transformation sequence when Prince Adam turns into He-Man in this episode. The initial time, I like that. I like that it just like he's He-Man and we didn't have to see it. I mean, I had nothing against the transformation sequence. I just think it changes it up a little bit, so I thought that was cool. And I like that he explains that Teela and Man-at-Arms are busy, so that we realize why they're not in the episode, and then he suggests, but I can take Ram Man. So I liked how that all set up. I thought it was good that they acknowledged that. The design of Mask, I thought was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the look of him. He had the look of a villain that I would like to see again. Obviously, we're not going to, but based on how this episode plays out, but it was one that I wouldn't have minded. He had the look, good enough look, almost like a Count Marzo or like a couple other characters scene where it's like, they actually took their time with this one. So I love the design of him. And I also like that they threw in a lesson on archaeology for the educational purpose of this episode. So Malactha and Scanlan were giving us a little archaeology 101. And man, I was not expecting He-Man to break that mask in half with that sword throw. That was like out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit, he just destroyed that mask. So those were my favorite parts of this episode. What about you?
I love the comedy in the episode. Like, anytime Ram Man is not meant, in this incarnation, he's not meant to be the smartest guy in the room. He's not meant to be the super dumbest guy in the room. I mean, that kind of goes to most of the kids in this show. But I love his comedy.
Yeah.
Just the fact of his power is ramming things or running into things, and it's so hilarious. During the battle scene with Trapjaw, when they find Trapjaw and Mask, He-Man does a jump that I've never seen before. It kind of looked like a ballerina jump.
Yeah, there's a few in this episode and throughout these last few episodes of season 1. There's some new animation that we haven't seen as much before.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Orko trying to pull Ram Man out of the sand. That was just funny. I love that. Um, uh, that was cool. Once again, the power finds. Oh, I will always bring this up every time we do one of these episodes. The power finds Cringer, and Zowie he turns into Battle Cat. It just because I think this is the one where it finds him cowering in the sand, and it turns him into Battle Cat when he's in the sand. Uh, um, Mask, you say? Where's Jim Carrey when you really need him? Oh, wait, that's right. He was getting one spitting around this era.
Ching.
Yeah. Anybody that hasn't seen Once Bitten, it's a very, very rare Jim Carrey movie. Very creepy, interesting vampire Jim Carrey movie. Jim Carrey was doing vampires before vampires were sparkly.
Alrighty then. Anything else relating to He-Man, sir?
No.
All right. Well, Ram Man has knocked all the walls down in Castle Grayskull, so we need more stuff for him to ram into. So we will make our way now to Snake Mountain.
Hope this is not too tight, Trappy.
What now, He-Man?
You take Trapjaw back to the fortress in the sands. Orko and I are going to the royal palace.
Shouldn't we try to find that pyramid?
That's why I want to talk to Malakna, the royal archaeologist.
What's an
An archaeologist.
All right. Before Snake Mountain collapse, let's get our Snake Mountain moments in. I'll let you go first, sir. What are your lowlights of this episode?
I only have two. Well, you enjoyed it. I was like, boo, no transformation, boo. Because, seriously, because they don't even, like... It's different if we start the episode where he's already He-Man, like the transformation happened off screen when we haven't even seen it. But the fact that they say, "Hey, can you go find He-Man, or can you go do this, this, and this," and then we completely skip over it, boo, no.
I disagree.
No. Okay, yeah. The physics in this episode suck. Ram Man can ram a guy all the way to the river, just as He-Man can throw someone that far. I call bullshit on that.
Ram Man his specialty is ramming, and He-Man's specialty is throwing, among other things.
Yes, but if He-Man's the most powerful man in the universe, why is Ram Man just as powerful when he's ramming something across a long distance? That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, I always question why we even need Ram Man, because He-Man should be able to break anything that Ram Man can break. So what's the point of him ramming into anything? He-Man can just punch it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm with you a little bit on that one.
That's all I had.
Battle Cat does not fit in a Wind Raider.
No, he doesn't.
So we probably shouldn't have them flying through the air on the Wind Raider with everybody else. I like the fact that they're like, well, we need to get Battle Cat there too, so we can't just like not have him there. But then they like squeezed him into the Wind Raider. That was just weird, but funny.
See, they've done it before, but they did it horizontally, where he was like you have the front seat of the Wind Raider, and then maybe he's on the back of it. But he's like hanging. There was another image I remember earlier in this season, earlier in the podcast, that I'll have to go back and look through the post to try to find it. But I do remember another image where he was laying across the back of the Wind Raider, not trying to sit in it like he is in this one. Yeah, no.
I could go without the use of the words "rammy" to refer to Ram Man. Or
you've never liked that.
Or if they're gonna do that, let's only do it to Rammy. But He-Man then in the same episode that he refers to Ram Man as Rammy, refers to Trapjaw as Trappy. No Rammy, no Trappy. Stop it. I don't necessarily enjoy the inclusion of the kid in this episode.
Absolutely not. No.
I don't necessarily think it was something that was vital. I get that you're going to need some way that we set up the whole thing with causing the problem that the kid does, but I think we could have done so in a different way, or you could have used Orko, or Ramen could have just fallen asleep and somehow done something stupid where it opens it up. Like, there was multiple ways to do it without the kid, and once you insert the kid, it just becomes the typical, don't do this, kid. I'm going to do it anyway. And the kid does it, and, like, I've seen that enough. I did not need the inclusion of the kid in this episode. I question why He-Man should have gone on this whole thing as He-Man. Like, when the journey begins, he should just be He-Man, and he should be He-Man throughout. Why go as Prince Adam? Because it just sets up a lot of problems in both parts of this episode, where we're constantly having the switch between Adam and He-Man and back to Adam and the He-Man, where it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're on this, like, journey that they've gone far away to the sands of time, and it just makes no sense to continuously have to try to buy that the characters are just going along with the fact that, oh, Adam's here now. Oh, Adam's gone. He-Man's here now. Oh, He-Man's gone. Adam's here now. Like, he should have just been He-Man the entire 2-part episode.
Yep, I agree.
So I had a little bit of problem with that because it leaves a lot of plot holes for people not necessarily buying the fact that one has just mysteriously vanished, etc. All right, so that is Snake Mountain. The walls are coming down. Ram Man is going crazy like he did in this entire episode. Somewhat funny, but we need to run for cover, so let's get somewhere so we can talk about awards and rankings.
And this is my friend. Hey, my friend. Now, where'd he go? Cringer, come out of there and say hello.
Hello, kitty.
I'm not a kitty, I'm Cringer, and you scared me.
You talk?
Doesn't everybody?
Talking tiger. Wow.
This mask was certainly a strange creature. He seems to have been more of an evil shadow than a man.
Hope Orko will be all right.
The sorceress will have him up and around in a few days.
At least Mask did us the favor of uncovering the tomb, and with him gone, it should be safe to explore.
Well, I hope you're right, Malekta. I hope you're right.
To be continued.
All right, it is award time for the first part of House of the Shokoti.
That sounds like something out of Dogma.
All right, sir, who are we handing hardware out to in this episode?
The kid. He gets a Havoc staff.
I was hoping that's what you were going to say.
There should not be any more kids in He-Man.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, I know, but isn't that the point of Orko, though? Orko was kind of like, I relate more to Orko and him not wanting to clean up his room than I do to any of the fucking kids in this entire series.
Fair enough. Any other hardware?
That's it.
All right.
Well, I guess I give a power sword to Ram Man for his comedy stylings, but yeah.
All right. That is fair enough. I will give a couple different things here. Number one, I will agree with you that the kid is unnecessary. So boo to him. I will give him a Havoc staff. I also ditto you as far as giving Ram Man a power sword, but I also hand out an additional power sword to Mask. So for Ram, I agree. I think he was hilarious in this episode. I think he made the episode a lot more fun than it could have been. And Mask, like I said before, he's just an epic-looking villain, so I will give power swords to both of those guys. How about your actual rating for the first part of House of the Shimbabi?
Yeah, something like that. I'd give it a 2. It gets 2 automatic points taken off because I loathed how they handled the first transformation sequence with there not being one, and then it takes another point off because the kid.
All right.
Kid is just horrible.
So you take 2 points off, and then it turns into a 2?
No, I took 2 points off for no transformation, and I took another point off
That is harsh.
for the kid.
You are harsh.
Hey.
I disagree with you. I do not.
We're 60-something episodes in. They need to give me something better.
I don't think it was that bad of an episode. I think it was a good setup to a 2-part episode. I will give this one a 4 Battle Cats out of 5. I don't see where we go all the way down to 2 with this one. It's a
2.
It's a decent setup. We got a decent villain. We got Ram Man being funny. We got a 2-parter. I don't see it. 4 Battle Cats out of 5.
2.
4. All right, so
2.
You can say that as many times as you like. People still know that you're wrong.
No.
All right, well, let's get on to the second part. Maybe you'll enjoy the second part more.
Maybe.
Prince Adam, as royal archaeologist, it's my job to explore it, no matter what the danger. Notice anything odd about this wall, Stanley?
The bricks in it are not as old as the stone in the rest of the pyramid.
Very good. You're like a detective.
What does it mean, Malika?
It means that almost 1,000 years after this pyramid was built, someone was afraid of something inside it. That wall keeps it in.
Good idea.
And to find out what it is, we'll have to take the wall down.
Bad idea. Very bad idea. Well, no sense wasting time.
All right, the date is Tuesday, November 29th, 1983. We're getting the second part from Larry DiTillio of House of the Shokoti. Plot. The expedition party learns that a wicked sorceress, Shokoti, is connected to the temple when they discover her image on the entrance. Late at night, an impatient Stanley vows to see the temple and is pulled inside by evil magic. An apparition of Shokoti appears beckoning Stanley to follow her. She explains that he will be present for the awakening of the sleeping beast. Meanwhile, He-Man, Battle-Cat, and Ram-Man battle the many nightmarish obstacles that Shokoti places before them. Stanley must overcome his fear, as the power of the Shokoti is the power of fear, which I never got that from the episode. Interesting. All right. Same cast as before, so we don't need to go into that. The PSA, though, is different. It's Prince Adam saying, stay away from dark, dangerous places and houses and alleys and abandoned places. Stay away from dark. All right. Second part of the plot. So we've had the setup in the first one. We find this mysterious thing that's going on here in the sands of time. We have Mask and everything like that. We're going to shift away from Mask now and go focus on Shokoti and this apparition / woman who's trying to unleash a beast on the world, and they have to kind of go through the gauntlet. What did you think of the plot on this one?
It was all right. It was a nice wrap-up to the whole story, but still, I want something better with actual evil warriors, not one-off villains.
For those of you that think Mike is a grumpy old man, stay tuned.
Shut the hell up.
Stay tuned for our when we get to episode 22 and we do our recap of season 1. We can get into more depth on that, and you can have your feelings known on his grumpiness. So, yeah, I mean the plots. I kind of like the setup a little bit better, I guess, than where the plot was going for. I like that. I guess what I'm saying is I felt like it was set up in a more epic way than what we're actually getting in this episode. I'm not saying this is a bad episode at all. I enjoy it. But I thought it could have even been a little bit better in the way that it was set up with Mask. I wish Mask was more present in this part of the episode as well. How about staying away from dangerous, dark places? Was that an issue for you as a kid?
Not really.
Okay. Me neither.
There was that one time where I thought I had a wolf in my closet, and the next thing I know, I'm in the hospital for 9 days because I had an epileptic seizure, so there was that. But...
That's always fun.
Other than that, though, no. I actually prefer dark places.
That explains a lot. All right, well, let's go to a kind of dark place, even though it's a good place, Castle Grayskull, and see if we can get Mike to say anything good about the House of the Shamami.
Yeah, my brain is not a nice place to be.
Wow, hey, nice and solid.
The darkness. I see the darkness once again.
Shokoti!
We may need your head again.
No problem.
No, it's too dangerous. We must wait for the sun to come up.
Who is this Sabuti?
Shokoti. She was a wicked sorceress from the dark side of Eternia.
Very good, Your Highness. See, the prince has been doing his studying.
And if I remember those studies, you're right about waiting for morning. Let's go back to camp. Ram Man will stand guard here. All right with you, Rami?
Sure. Oh, Sashimi doesn't scare me.
All right, so it's Castle Grayskull moments for House of the Shemengi Part 2. Highlight. I love Ram Man, and that's why I've been doing it all episode. Who is this Shabuti? He says.
Yeah.
And then he kept saying different things, and it was hilarious. Ram Man is hilarious, especially while he was standing guard. Very funny moments from Ram Man. I like that for once, Cringer actually asks for a transformation. He basically he notices what's happening, and it's all freaking him out, and he's like, if you don't ask for me to be transformed into Battle Cat right now, I am going to be back at the palace in about 5 minutes. So I thought that was a clever thing, that he's actually warning Adam that he needs to use the power real quick. And I thought Shokoti had a pretty good design as well. I thought she was I think the pairing of her and Mask both together looked like very convincing bad people. So I thought the design work on this episode was good. What about you?
It wasn't 5 minutes. It was 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cringer. Cringer might be the best overall character out of this entire show for me at this point.
Fair enough.
He really, really might. There was a moment 2 weeks ago in episode 20. I forget which one, but he was complaining to Adam, and Adam's like, "Oh, come on, pal. We gotta." It was one of those where they had to sneak off and transform. But how the sound designers did that, and I know I'm talking about something that I talked about 2 weeks ago, but I forgot what I said. How the sound designers took their lines and then combined it into the transformation. It was so seamless, and yeah, Cringer might be the best character out of the whole series for me. I do like the fading face animation after the kid gets in the temple. I thought that was interesting, and that's one hell of a giant rat trap.
Yeah. All right. So some good things about the second part of House of the Shokoti. We will go on and see what grumpy old Mike has to say in the negative aspect about Shokoti. So let's get to Snake Mountain.
No problem.
Ramming.
Stanley, I thought you were mushroomy. Well, what are you doing here?
Ramman, do you think you can get through that door?
Yeah, sure, why?
Malacca is sending me back tomorrow. I'll never see any of it. Please, Ramman, just a little peek. Just what's behind the door.
I don't think I should. Prince Adam said that.
Please, Ramman, please.
Well, maybe just what's behind the door.
All right, it's my favorite place, Snake Mountain. Go for it. What did you not like about the House of the Shokoti?
Seriously, Skeletor should know about this witch. Come on! Why doesn't he know about her? Why wasn't he in this episode at some point, even for a split second? Like, all these evils that... Okay, take out some of them that are, like, from other dimensions and stuff like this, but all the evil that exists on Eternia, Skeletor should know about it. Oh my god. Every time I see the kid in this two-parter, I think he's a damn girl. The character design on him, every single time I saw him, I thought it was a girl. And I kept wanting to call him Scranton, because I could never figure out what his actual name is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand the desire to do something you're told not to, but yikes, this was one of the worst kids we've ever had.
I wouldn't go that far. He didn't annoy me as much as what was it, Jeremy
and
a couple other kids. Like,
yeah.
He wasn't as annoying. I just don't see the purpose for him being here yet. Like, he didn't grate on my nerves, but it is the typical boy brat plotline, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So
at this point,
I'll agree with you on that one. I also thought, although they did a great job with the design of Shokoti and Mask, they did a terrible job on the design of this supposedly epically bad, evil beast monster thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, again, the creeping Horak
It
from
just
way back.
didn't look very intimidating. It didn't look very evil. It's supposed to be, if it was just like, oh, I'm throwing a random monster at you, that's fine. But they like built this up as like this is a thing that's going to take over the entire planet and no one's going to be able to stop it. And it just didn't look like that would be something that would do that.
Yeah, no.
And then there's also a moment at the end where Battlecat roars at the end, but he shouldn't be there.
No, he shouldn't.
So that was a weird placement of that roar from him in a scene that he shouldn't be in. Anything else that you had that I cut you off from for Snake Mountain?
No, that's it.
All right, well, let's see how we scored the second part of this two-part episode.
Adam, in 2 seconds, I'm back in the Royal Palace. So, you better lift your sword now.
By the power of Grayskull.
All right, it is time for the House of the Shiitake Mushrooms final rankings and awards here. I will basically just echo what I said for the first part. It's the same thing outside of the fact that Mask wasn't present, so I'm going to give a power sword to Ram Man. He's still funny in this episode, especially while he's keeping guard, and even more of a Havoc staff to Scanlan in this episode.
Not just more of a Havoc staff for me. I'm doubling down. I'm giving him double Havoc staffs right now. Oh my god, so bad.
Any power swords for you this episode?
Ram Man.
All right.
I'll keep with that because he was really, really funny, and it was so funny at the end. Hey, Ram Man, you actually got it right this time.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, and let's see. You gave the first part only 2 because you're an idiot. How do you feel about the second part of it?
I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
3, we've upgraded. You think the second part is better than the first part?
Well, specifically for Ram Man, everything else, no. I mean, if Ram Man was not in this 2-parter episode, they'd both get 0s. I'm telling you.
You are evil. You've been like cursed or you got a plague on you or something where you just can't.
This is episode 62 of a 130 episode series. We are 62 episodes in. Yes, I understand back then the standards are different. They wrote individual episodes for daily syndication. But by now, I want better stories.
I think we've gotten better stories here and there. I think we've had some nasty stories from time to time. But in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 episodes, I mean, I think everything's been 4 or 5. We've been on a little good run here. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see the second part of this one being better than the first part. I do like some of the comedy from Ram Man even more maybe in this episode, but I liked Mask a little better than I liked Shokoti. And I thought the build-up was a little bit better than the payoff. So I will go from 4 on that first part down to 3.5 on the second part. So 4 and 3.5 for me, 2 and 3 from Grouchy Tiger over there. All right, well, we're done with a 2-part episode. We only have 3 episodes to go on the first season, only 1 episode left for this episode of the podcast. So let's see what Mike thinks about the Once and Future Duke.
Let's get out of this place.
What's your problem, Cringer?
There are creepy, crawly things in here.
Help! Help!
Listen.
Help!
Somebody else is being munched by moths.
Help!
Over there. A hunger lily's got that boy. We have to help him.
What do you mean, we?
All right. The day is Wednesday. It's November 30th, 1983, and we're getting a story from the only time we ever see these people, Phyllis and Robert White. They penned a story called The Once and Future Duke. In the vine jungle, Prince Adam and Cringer stumble across a young boy who looks like a friend they once knew, but who appears not to have aged like they have. The sorceress informs Adam that Count Marzo has taken the Ring of Remembrance, the only thing able to restore the child named David back to his rightful age. As Adam and Tila head out to locate the ring and save their friend, they are unaware that Count Marzo is watching their every move and plotting their downfall. So we have the regular masters along with the king and queen. For the bad guys, we can count Count Marzo, obviously, as one of them. And the PSA is all about water safety. What do you feel about this Count Marzo-centered plot and the child who is not aging?
I was wondering when Marzo was going to show up. I thought he would have shown up way before now, or at least like at the beginning of season 2, but I'm kind of glad that he's showing up here, and he's better than Shibubi last episode, so... I don't like this version of Marzo, though, as far as his design. I prefer the 2002 updated version. The plot is good. It's your standard. It's like if The Lion King was made in the 80s, pretty much, is what I thought of the whole time I was watching this.
What?
The Lion King.
What about The Lion King?
Yes, The Lion King. You heard me right.
There's no child that has a father that dies, that has his uncle that... Okay, I get that Count Marzo is his relative. Okay.
Come on now. Marzo is his uncle. The king is God knows where. We don't know where his father is. So Marzo is his uncle, and he's trying to take over. Well, I mean, that's clearly Orko and Ram Man.
Oh my god.
Come on now.
Such a stretch with your references.
Orko can pull off Timoon, and Ram Man is easily Pumbaa.
Okay.
Come on now.
Lion King, He-Man style.
That's right.
Interesting that you bring up Count Marzo and the design. We will see him again in this series. One of the special... I'm reverted back to watching these on the DVD form that I have. And if you go to each one and view it by chapters, it gives you trivia about each one. And one of the trivias about this one was that that Count Marzo would appear later on, but he has a completely different design later on in the series. So we'll have multiple designs of him to judge once we're all done with everything He-Man related. So we'll have like the initial design, we'll have the second design as far as what he appears in season 2 of He-Man, and then we'll have obviously the 2002 version of Count Marzo as well. So we'll have a lot of different designs for this character, and we'll have to see what we think of once we're all said and done. But yeah, we will see him looking a little different, and we'll also see his Chimera henchman guy appear later on, and he will have a different design as well. So they completely redo, they bring the character and his henchman back, but they completely redo the design later on in season 2. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can get a little bit of Scar and Simba in this. I think it's interesting that we have the idea of a child that's not aging, and that it was one of the boyhood friends of Prince Adam and Tila that they recognize and say, you know, wait a second, we're old now, you're not. So that kind of sets up a cool little mystery angle to the show, and we don't usually have a lot of mystery involved here. So I appreciate that, and obviously I appreciate that we had an episode that was going to involve Count Marzo, so I was very interested to see how they executed this one.
My one story note that I wrote under your plot. Wait, what the hell? The power sword is nothing but a metal detector? Boo.
Is that how they found the ring?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. All right, well, let's see what good things we have to say about episode 63.
Battle Cat. I hate to rush off while you're all tied up. Are you all right? You look familiar. You're David. David from Abra, right?
I don't know. I don't know who I am.
He-Man rescued the boy from a hunger lily. Tila, don't you recognize him?
He looks like David of Abra, but it can't be. How is it possible? You two played with David when you were all 8 years old. Well, if that is David, he should be the same age as you two. We grew up. Why didn't he?
Well, he can't tell us that. He's lost his memory.
David, don't you remember me?
No.
We used to play together, remember? Remember the time we were playing ball? We broke a window here in the palace and you were afraid of my father? But you were more afraid that I'd be punished. So you marched right up to my father and said, Tila didn't do it. I did. Oh, I was so proud of you.
I don't remember anything. What's gonna happen to me?
Don't worry. We're your friends. We'll help somehow.
How did you happen to be in the vine jungle, David?
I don't know.
Take it easy, David. If you'll excuse me. Sorceress? Sorceress, can you help? If this is David, how can he still be a child?
The boy is David of Abra, whom you played with as a child. His people were keepers of the Ring of Remembrance. They were happy and contented, and all was well. He grew up just as you and Tila did, but just as he reached the age when he would become Duke of Abra, his evil uncle, Count Marzo, cast a spell that reverted him to childhood with no memory of who he really is.
Well, what happened to the ring?
Count Marzo has it. The spell cannot be removed until the ring is recovered.
Well, David was my friend when we were children. I've got to help him.
All right. The once and future king, Duke. Castle Grayskull moments here. Like I said before, it's a unique story of David not growing up. I appreciate that. I appreciate the mystery part. And I like the crazy backstory they gave for Count Marzo and that and how he came to be and how he is involved in this universe. So I appreciated the backstory there.
Yep.
But I didn't have like a lot of individual moments. I just kind of like a lot of the premise for this episode. What about you?
I think it was awesome. Well, like I already said, awesome that it was Marzo that showed up. This is me being sarcastic. It's not really a bad moment, but it's the reason why I put it here in Castle Grayskull. Orko half disappears, and then he pulls. All he does is pull his shirt down. Some magician. I did enjoy the animation effects on the power sword when it was used to detect the ring, but using it as a metal detector is lame. And the animation on Tila pulling Orko was really cool. I thought that was a nice little stretch. So yeah, that's all I got for Grayskull.
Okay, I'm afraid then to see what you have at Snake Mountain, but let's get on with the show and venture to Snake Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You really didn't need to come along.
David was my friend, too.
I never even knew him. How come I've got to come along?
So, they're after the Ring of Remembrance, are they? We'll see about that.
Yes, Count Marzo, you rang?
Yes, Prince Adam and Tila think that they're going to help my nephew. Stop them.
Yes, Master.
All right, we are at Snake Mountain. Speaking of the once and future Duke, episode 63, sir, what are your moments that you would like to bring up?
This is not a new storyline. I mean, this is kind of based off the Once and Future King. I've seen other versions of this, and the one that I was really remembering at the time I watched the episode was the Lion King. Yes, exactly.
Although he never had a problem aging.
No, well, he didn't have a problem aging, but he did age.
He aged in a song, which is like fast forward. This guy is not aging at all. It's like the complete opposite.
Yeah, no, I know that, but it was more of when the evil uncle came in that I was thinking of the Lion King. Okay, so last episode, or in the two-parter, when I said boo to not showing the transformation at all, I call bullsnot on only showing half of it.
Bullsnot.
They showed half of it. Bullshit.
No, you said bullsnot.
Horrible. Both. That is horrible, only showing half of the transformation sequence.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to... It might be in the audio, but I'm not sure. I don't remember what audio I grabbed for this episode.
I mean, at this point, you've seen the transformation sequence 67 times, probably.
Well, yes, but it's standard at this point, and I expect it. Damn it, I don't expect to get it cut off in the middle.
Oh my goodness!
It's like they circumcised him or something.
Oh
my. I gotta go to one of your usual scientific points. He-Man again spins around and controls water. He truly is Captain Planet's daddy. I felt like Wheelie should have been in this episode. Freezing Fog, Waters of Forgetfulness, Ring of Remembrance. And then I'm thinking, oh wait, no, they're trying to give you a message on Alzheimer's, because then the idiot at the end forgot to be evil. That's how Sorceress saved him. She cast a spell that made him forget to be evil, and now he's the gardener. Oh my god.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. My main problems with this, again, we have a kid here. David was annoying, as most kids are. Not as annoying as Jeremy and some other kids we've seen, but still somewhat annoying. And I just found, even though I like the backstory of Count Marzo, I like the kind of mystery involved with why is this kid not aging type thing, and that there's some connection with him and Prince Adam and Tila as kids, I just found the episode just a tiny bit boring as far as the action and the pacing of it. And it's just a little boring for me.
Compared to the other two episodes with the other kid, this is like miles and miles better. David is probably the only child in this entire series that I can actually not say a bad word about, because...
It's first.
Yeah. You can put that in your records.
I am. I'm going to add that right now.
Because of the simple fact that he's not actually a kid. He's an adult trapped as a child.
Yeah.
Because of what Count Marzo is doing. So... how am I going to sit here and say bad things about a kid who has, amnesia? I can't, and I won't.
All right.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's see if you rank this one higher or lower than the House of the Shibuya.
Oh, you're very wrong, little lady.
All right, it's award time for the last time today, and we're talking about the awards for the Once and Future Duke. What hardware are you giving out, sir?
I liked the episode. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like anyone super stood out. I guess if I was really... Yeah, no. No.
No? No hardware given out by anybody today. That's because this episode was a little boring and nobody stands out. So no power swords, no havoc staffs. We will save them and not use them that much more here in season 1. But we will have a ranking for this one. And your rating for this episode is what?
You better brace yourself, because you might fall out of your chair. 4 out of 5.
4. He likes this one better than the House of the Shokoti.
I liked this one better than the two-parter. I didn't find it as boring as you did, because I've seen... I liked this, and I drew analogies to other things of this story type that I had seen before. Sure, I have a bunch of, negative moments in there, but those are mostly, the cutting the, basically circumcising the transformation sequence. That's just a nitpick. I mean, that's not a reason to take a point off or so, but it's not by any means perfect, but it's still 4 out of 5 Orgos for me.
I am almost with you there. I don't think it's better than the House of Shokoti. I definitely don't think it's better than the first part of that, but I do think it's on pace with the second part. So I will give it the same as I did with the second part, and give it a 3.5. So we're not that much different. The only difference is more so how you viewed House of Shokoti. We're similar with Once and Future Duke. We disagree on the House of the Shokoti. I don't think it's a great 2-part episode, but I don't think it's quite as bad as you make it out to be. All right, so that gives our rankings and ratings for the Once and Future Duke. We'll be right back to give our thoughts on is winding down here in season 1.
In today's story, I sure was busy. Boy, did that hurt. Ramming things may look like fun, but it really isn't. Trying to use your head the way I do is not only dangerous, it's dumb. I mean, you could get hurt badly. So listen to Rami, play safely, and when you use your head, use it the way it was meant to be used, to think. Until later, so long.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
In today's adventure, Stanlin was trapped in an old dark building. He had to face many dangers, from demons to monsters. Now, in your world, there are no demons or monsters, but there's still danger in old dark places. Empty buildings or caves may seem exciting, but you could get badly hurt or trapped in places like that. So stay out of them, even if one of your friends dares you to go in. Taking a risk like that isn't brave, it's just dumb.
Grab your helmets because it's time to assemble Mask. The Geekcast Radio Network has launched Masked Mayhem with your hosts OptimusSolo and TFG1Mike. This podcast covering all 75 episodes of Mask will feature in-depth analysis of every episode, talk on the toys, and more. Masked Mayhem will run 30 podcast episodes. You can find us in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com. Get your spectrums ready as podcasting is the ultimate weapon.
Swimming is fun and good for you, but going in the water can be very dangerous on your planet as well as mine. But there's no chance that you'll lose your memory as Orko did, but the threat of drowning is very real. That's why it's important to be aware of the rules of water safety. Don't play jokes in the water. Always be sure to swim in an area where an adult is watching you, and never swim alone. Go with a friend. Keep your swimming safe, and live to swim another day.
Alrighty then. It is time to give our thoughts on today's episodes. We won't give a whole lot of recap on Season 1 because we will be doing that with our next episode in a lot more detail. But as far as these episodes go, kind of run-of-the-mill episodes for me. Nothing that was like fantastic, but nothing that was awful. My rankings were 3.5, 3.5, and 4, so they were a little above average. You gave it a 2, 3, and a 4. So again, you didn't give anything an awful rating, and nothing like the best rating you could. So it's all kind of middle ground episodes here. A lot of Ram Man that we got with that two-parter, so that was good. Some kids in all of these episodes, which is a little For a two-parter, I expect more, but it wasn't terrible. So kind of just an on these three. Like, they were good, but they were nothing fantastic.
I agree with you that Mask is the most interesting part of Shibubi, but the rest of that two-parter is just terrible.
According to you.
It's just terrible.
All right, fair enough. Any other thoughts, or do you want to save most of your other thoughts for next episode?
No, I'm gonna save the season. I'm gonna save it for the season recap when we do that.
All right, so stay tuned for next episode if you want to hear us give our recap on Season 1. As for now, we would like to thank you for joining us and listening to the Tales of Eternia. And if you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, www.geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on all of our posts. You can send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can leave us show's feedback in iTunes. You can follow all of us on Twitter, Geekcast Radio, or your Twitter is?
TFG1Mike.
Mine is OptimusSolo. You can become a fan of us on Facebook, where Mike will keep you up to date with all things Geekcast Radio related. And you can call the voicemail line and tell us the show that you're leaving the message for and give us your name, and the number there is 502-526-5821. We hope you
Sometimes Trapjaw picks up.
Oh, sweet. So you can even get and talk to Trapjaw a little bit. We hope you enjoyed the tales today, and don't forget to join us on our next adventure when we will be discussing episodes 64 and 65, Golden Disc of Knowledge and the Heart of a Giant, as well as taking a special look back on Season 1 of the series and looking for what we're looking ahead to when we start Season 2. So next episode is one you do not want to miss. We're wrapping up Season 1. We're looking forward to Season 2. It's all kinds of good stuff. So for now, I'm OptimusSolo with
TFG1Mike.
By the powers of Grayskull, you all have the power.